Hi, Sajad here.
Am I audible?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Excellent. Esther, can you make me as a presenter? Esther, can you make me as a presenter? Thank you. Okay. So I hope everyone is able to see my screen.
Yeah, I can see.
Okay, cool. So let's quickly begin our session here for today. Anyone, any questions before I start my session? Okay. Silence, I'll assume no questions from anyone. Since you're not having any questions, and if I remember correctly, in our last session, we talked about the directory structure, what is meant by domain mode, what is meant by standalone mode. This is what we have talked in our last session. Correct me in case if I'm wrong. Did we talk about this one only?
Yeah.
Okay. Did we talk anything about the profiles, the concept of profiles?
No.
Didn't we not talk about the profile? I think we talked about the profiles, full profile, HA profile, full hyphen HA.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so I got thought it as a installation mode. Yeah.
No. Now, so did we also talk about what is meant by domain mode and what is meant by standalone mode?
Yes.
Excellent. So since we talked about what is meant by domain mode, what is meant by standalone mode, since we also talked about the directory structure which we get post installing the JBoss application server. Now, before we try to talk about what is meant by domain mode and etc., the concepts of the domain mode, let's try to briefly understand the standalone mode. Okay, for a couple of more days, we'll try to talk and we'll try to work only on the standalone mode. So what is the standalone mode, Shiva? Standalone mode is a mode, okay, wherein which, as I told to you on the other day, the standalone mode is a mode where all my JVMs are available on the single machine. Even in the standalone mode also, I'll have 4 profiles: default, full, HA, full hyphen HA profiles. Okay, so in a standalone mode, when I'm working in a standalone mode, okay, so we have to remember that, okay, in a standalone mode, all of my JVMs are present in a single machine. Whatever the capabilities you're trying to talk about, like the clustering capability, the messaging capability, etc. and etc., all of them are available even in the standalone mode. Depending upon what is the profile you are using, according to that, that particular mode would be available. The default profile, standard profile, or the full hyphen HA, or the HA profile. So if you see the standalone mode, okay, the moment I install the JBoss application server and go to the standalone folder, I see a couple of files and folders. Clear? The moment I install my JBoss application server, okay, and if I want to operate the JBoss application server, I can operate it either in standalone mode or the domain mode. And also, if you see your standalone mode, the moment I install the JBoss application server, if I want to invoke the standalone mode, I need to say standalone.sh. Okay, the moment I say standalone.sh, okay, the standalone mode will be invoked. So once again here, sorry to stop you, but the moment I say standalone.sh, would it load a default profile? Would it load a HA profile? Would it load a HA, full hyphen HA? Or what is the profile it loads? The moment you say standalone.sh, what will happen is that by default, it will load the standalone.xml file. Clear? This is by default. If you want your JBoss application server to load any profile other than the standalone profile, like a full profile, HA profile, full hyphen HA profile, then you have to say -c and you have to give the name of the profile. Clear? Or if you got any other profiles like clear? So this is how we invoke the JBoss application server in a standalone mode. If you say standalone.sh, nothing but the standalone.xml file or the default profile would be loaded. But if you say standalone-c, and depending upon the profile you are trying to specify, according to that particular corresponding profile would be loaded. Default profile, HA profile, full profile, or full hyphen HA profile. Clear? Yes, am I clear?
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we want to, for example, you mentioned 4 different profiles, default, full HA, full HA. So let's say we want a 5th profile and we want a different
We
set of
have
features.
no, we have only 4 profiles.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you see the standalone mode, okay, the moment I install the JBoss application server and I go to the bin folder, so if I invoke the standalone.sh, depending upon what is the extension you are giving, according to that, either the default HA, full or full hyphen HA profiles will be loaded. Okay. At the same time, when I go inside the JBoss home standalone folder, I see a couple of files and folders. Sure, what are all these? Okay, as the name itself indicates, if you see the configuration folder, it contains the configuration users. Clear? The moment you go inside the configuration folder, it contains the configuration information of your profile. Like what are the things that are there in the default profile, what are the things that are there in the HA profile, what are the things that are there in the full profile, what are the things that are there in the full hyphen HA profile. All of them would be present in the configuration folder. In short and sweet, the configuration folder is a folder which contains the complete configuration information of your profile. Clear?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So apart from the configuration files called as in standalone-HA or the full-HA profiles, we also see something called as in logging.properties. What is this, Shiva? Logging.properties, as the name itself indicates, okay, it's a file that contains the logging related information. Okay, do you want to enable a debug? Change it here. Do you want to enable error or exception or whatever the kinds of logging you want to have? All of them you can control it by using the logging.properties. Apart from that, I also see application-users and application-roles.properties. If you see the application-users and application-roles.properties, application user is a user which is related to the application level. You are installing a JBoss application server. In the JBoss application server, in a messaging mode, okay, with the messaging configuration, if it tries to go and talk to another application, it needs a user for the handshaking. That user, whatever you are trying to define, we call it as an application user. Okay, and what are the rules you are trying to assign to that is called as an application-users.property file. That is, information is contained in the application-roles.properties. whatever the application related users you are trying to create, that will be present in the application hyphen user dot properties. And similar to this, we have management hyphen groups dot properties, management hyphen user dot properties. While installing the JBoss application server, I created an user. Using this particular user, what will I do is that I'll try to log into the admin console, which is a centralized management tool to manage the different resources. Those users, the complete list of users which are related to the JBoss application server admin console is present under the management-user.properties. The roles you are trying to assign to them is present under the management-groups.property file. Clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyone, any question on the configuration folder?
Yes, Shivats, you see, I have different kind of applications. So this thing seems too strange, like how it is controlling these application users. Like my application users are in application database. I can
Those are
understand
the,
management
no,
users.
no, those are the application level users. These are not your var or AR file users. See, your JBoss application server supports multiple features. Simple example I'm trying to take of a messaging. Inside the JBoss application server, we can configure a JMS bridge. But what is this JMS? JMS is the one which will transport the messages from one application to another application. So when both of them are trying to communicate with each other, we need to create an user related to the JBoss. JBoss, JMS. This is not the user that is related to the JBoss admin console. This is a user that is related to the JBoss JMS application. Okay, so that user is present under the application-user.properties file. And what is the role you're assigning? That is defined under the application-roles.properties.
Okay, okay. So these are the users managed to different applications.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Clear? Anyone, any questions? Okay. Silence. I'll assume no questions. So since you're not having any questions, let me move forward.
So there will be a super user as well, like we have as admin in WebSphere.
No,
So
that is defined under the management hyphen user.properties at the not application level.
okay.
Okay, next one is the deployment. As I told to you on the other day while trying to talk about the differences between the standalone mode and the domain mode, any application, var or ER, whatever you got, if you copy it inside the deployments folder, the applications will be automatically deployed. How do we do that? What is the concept behind that? How it works? We'll talk a little bit later. Okay, the next one is a lib folder. This is also a folder, as I told you on the other day, only available in a standalone mode. Okay, but even though it's available, what are the class path related jar files are there? We don't keep it under the lib folder. We rather keep it into the modules folder. Clear? Guys, am I clear?
Yes, Shiva. So you were saying that we create modules folder under lib, right?
No, no, not under the lib. There's a, I'll show you. Okay, let me show it to you right away. Under the JBoss home, okay, there's a folder called as an modules folder. Whatever the class path related jar files are there, you keep it them in the modules folder. Sure, one question here. How do we do that? Very simple. You create a directory. Okay, if you see inside the modules folder, a couple of more directories. You can go to any of the subdirectories, or what you can do is that okay, you create a directory here itself. Okay, and let me say it as an let's say I'm working on creating a data source. Whenever I need to create a data source, okay, for an Oracle database, I need to have an Oracle driver JDBC driver jar file. Okay, So that one I have to set it as a class path. So what do? I'll go to the modules folder, create a folder called as an Oracle, and whatever the jar file I have got, I'll copy it here. Okay, assume this is some jar file. It's not a jar file, I understand, but assume that this is a jar file. Okay, so under the modules folder, what we did is that I created another folder specific to my requirement. My requirement is to install a jar file that is related to the Oracle database, which is mandatory for me whenever I'm trying to create a data source. So what I did is that, okay, whatever this are there, okay, the modules folder are there. Under the modules folder, I created an Oracle folder. Why Shiva com? It's not mandated to create a com. Just for my understanding, saying that it's a commercial one that is related to myself, my company. So that's the reason I created a com folder, but it's optional for you. Inside that I said Oracle, and inside that I created a mandatory folder called as a main folder. And at the main folder, whatever the jar file I've got, I copied it over here. Whatever the jar file I've got, I copied it over here. This one, okay, along with this jar file, we need to create something called as a module.xml file. Clear? You need to create a module.xml file and provide the reference of the OJDBC6.jar file. So 1 second here, creating the directory and copying it inside the modules folder, we are very clear. But how do I create a module.xml file? I don't know how to write an XML file. Okay, what is the best way? Either rely on the google.com, or else what you can do is that go to any of the subfolders, okay, related to the you go to, sorry, not CD, you go to any of the subfolders inside the module system layer, okay, get the model.xml file, edit it as per your convenience. Clear? Edit it as per your convenience. Whatever the name you want, give it here. They are saying that, hey boss, it's inside the modules Apache folder, but we need to say it's there inside the com.oracle. Okay, and the name of the jar file is not this one. What is the name of the jar file? OJDBC6.jar file. Save it. Okay. Now, whenever your JBoss application server is loaded, it refers to the module.xml file, and it understands that it needs a jar file, class path related jar file called as an OJDB6.jar file, and it will load that particular file. Clear?
So, Shiva, this module.xml is under this modules?
Yes, under the modules. Okay. Whenever your JBoss application server is getting loaded, either in a standalone mode or in a domain mode, it will go to the modules folder, and whatever the modules.xml files that are there, under the JBoss application server modules folder, it will refer to them, and the corresponding jar files referred in the modules.xml file is loaded whenever the JBoss application server is started.
So for each jar file, there will be each XML.
No, for each of the one XML file is capable to have any number of jar files defined in it.
Okay.
But that should be there under the mandatory folder called as in main folder. Let's say here I have got another jar file. Just for example. Okay, I can refer them even here also. Okay.
Yeah. So all data sources information that will be in this file I will mention that which.
Not data source related information. Whatever the list of jar files that are there specific to my requirement, it will be there here.
Okay.
I just took the data source configuration related JDBC driver file as an example.
Okay.
For you, it might be your class path EJB file related jar file. For someone, it might be login related jar file customized for them. So it might be anything. But whatever the list of jar files are there, you can refer them over here. Clear?
Yeah.
Anyone? Any questions?
So this XML file doesn't have any information, just it has class path like load this jar, that's it.
That's it.
Okay.
Clear?
Yeah.
Yeah. So since you're clear, I have a question here. I have installed an application called as an OJDBC. I have installed an application called as an OTA.var file. This OTA.var file will do the summation of 4 numbers, A plus B plus C plus D. Okay? But to do this, it needs to have a proper var file created. So whatever this OTA.var file is there, whatever this OTA.var file is there, when I deployed it inside the JBoss application server, either in a domain mode or in the standalone mode, I keep on getting the exceptions called as in java.lang.no class definition found error, java.lang.class conflict issue, java.lang.no class not properly defined. So these kind of issues I'm trying to get. What should I do now? I try to access this application locally in my environment before putting it into the UAT environment or the pre-prod environment or the staging environment. In dev, it was working perfectly fine. But in the production, I'm getting this exception. What should I do now? It was working perfectly fine, perfectly.
Is there any issue of Java version?
No, whatever the Java version, whatever the JBoss version in dev and the UAT environment are perfectly the same.
And the Java path, JDK path, which you
Everything is same.
Maybe the jar file is missing.
So
are in the modules like module.xml, the order is different, loading of jar file order?
no.
In production, cannot use that.
Someone said about the jar file, something like that. I don't know who said that.
Kranti.
Kranti. Oh, okay. So what was your answer, Kranti?
Maybe jar file is missing.
How do we
So
resolve that?
for
Jar
yeah, for me, mm, it mean we don't have a class file, or we have a class file at wrong location or stuff like that?
How do I resolve it?
Sorry?
Let's take no. You said two scenarios. You and Kant said that two scenarios. One is that either the class file is missing or it's giving a conflict because of not able to load properly. Let's rule out the second scenario. How do I resolve the first scenario?
So
By creating that jar, by copying the jar file in the XML on the main
Which
folder.
XML? I don't have a main folder. See here. You have
Like
to create a customized folder specific to your application. For example, let's say that this is an application related to the OTA. Then what you do? You have to create a customized folder specific to your OTA. Let's say com OTI main.
oh, okay.
Under the modules folder, you have to create it. Okay. Then under this, okay, you have to refer whatever the jar files you have got specific to your application here. Then you define the modules.xml file. Okay, and inside that, say these are the jar files that are there. Clear? This is what we talked a couple of minutes back.
Yeah, so it mean every time you look for a com OTA main.
So Shiva, can you just repeat it again? So you were saying that we have a deployed application and which is giving this Java lang such error, right?
No class definition for error or class conflict issue. So what we have to do is that in either of the scenarios, okay, we have to define that jar file at the time of loading the JBoss application server. How you can do that? By going inside the modules folder, creating a folder specific to your requirement, okay, and under that you create the module.xml file where you try to say, hey, these are the application related jar files, load it whenever the JBoss application server is trying to load.
Okay, okay.
Am I clear to everyone?
So Shiva, one more question. So one jar file we install to install the JBoss. So this is a different jar.
No, that's a JBoss related jar file. I mean, it's a JBoss. Whenever you're trying to install the JBoss application server, to install the JBoss application server, that is a jar file. But this is a jar file that is related to your application. Some OTA.var file, some
So
Bank
the
of America.com.
developer will provide us along with anytime he do changes, he will provide us this jar file.
Yep, whatever the jar files are there, provided by the developer, the same one.
So Shiva, it will be loaded while the JBoss is started, or in between also we can load it?
No, no, no. Whatever the things that you are trying to define in the modules folder, they will be loaded whenever the JBoss is started, either in a domain mode or in the standalone mode.
Okay.
Clear?
Yeah.
Whenever you start your JBoss application server, either in a domain mode or in a standalone mode, whatever the things that are defined, whatever the model.xml files are there, all of them will be loaded. But model.xml file will in turn contain the information of your jar file. So the things that are defined whenever you're trying to load the JBoss application server, whatever the jar files are there, those will be loaded under the modules folder. Clear?
One more question. It often happens that whether you do OS patching or fixed patching, sometimes it also update the Java and or your database is looking for old jar file. So how would we handle this? Like every time, let's say we are doing JBoss patching, application patching, and it
Okay.
look for older or new Java jar, and there's a conflict. How do we resolve?
Which conflict? Class loading conflict. So whenever trying to load the JBoss application server, always remember that, okay, this JBoss application server, whatever you are trying to load it, okay, you're as part of the upgrade or as part of the any of the patching you're trying to do, you have to always understand the conflicts that you might get. First, resolve those conflicts. Clear?
No, we don't know the conflict. We are doing this patching, application patching first time, and later on we figure out, oh, there's some problem with error message in the log file related to jar. Whether it's looking for a new jar or old jar or our jar got updated.
Then whatever the things we discussed, like this one, you have to apply it. Okay, let's say that you upgraded your JBoss application server from 5 to 6. Okay, there's a jar file that is missing. For what are the reasons the jar file was missing? Go to the models folder, create the directory whatever you have highlighted, then create the model.xml file, then load it. Am I clear?
Yeah, so Siva, suppose that like I have like I'm supporting Sybase, Oracle, SQL, so I need to load all modules for that. Do I need to create manually or it will be by default?
No, none of the database related driver files are available by default with the JBoss.
Okay.
Let's say you're working with all the databases, then copy all the driver files related to them under the modules folder in your user defined folder, create one module.xml file, refer all the jar files inside that. You said, I'm not sure, it's a little bit confusing. I want to create separate folders for separate databases. You do it, no problem. Your convenience.
Yeah. So apart from this databases, do we need other JDBC files also? Sorry, other jar files also?
No, it's not only, the reason I took the driver for JDBC example is that since you're all know about the data sources, that's the reason I took the example of the JDBC. But it's not only the JDBC, your application, okay, or your logging, it might be anything, but always remember that if you want to define the jar files for whatever the reason, it might be related to the databases, it might be related to your application, it might be related to anything. Okay, if you see that a jar file has to be loaded, put it inside the modules folder. That's one of the simple and easy way. Am I clear?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So after the lib folder, the next one we have is temp folder. So what is this temp folder, Shiva? Temp folder, as the name itself says, it contains the temporary information. So what you can do is that whenever you are trying to launch the JBoss application server, delete the temp folder. Whenever you are trying to deploy any application, the temporary files related to the transaction, it will be there. So whenever you're trying to relaunch your JBoss application server comfortably, you can delete the contents under the temp folder. Clear?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is how your JBoss application server directory structure looks like before you're trying to start the JBoss application server. Sure. 1 second here. Can you once start the JBoss application server, okay, and show us in a standalone mode? Very simple. Go to the bin folder, do anything, just say standalone.sh. The moment you say standalone.sh, depending upon the configurations that are being defined under the configuration folder of your standalone directory, all of them will be loaded accordingly.
So right now it is loading default profile?
Yes.
Okay.
You say, no, Shiva, not default profile. I want a HA profile.
So Shiva, is there any difference between the console of HA and this, or same?
Obviously, the features that you get in the HA is different from the one you get it in the default profile. But the things will be different. Okay. If you ask me, Shiva, what's the difference between the admin console of your app and the DMGR? There are many. Both of them will have a console, but the features will be different. Same over here also. Clear?
Yeah.
See here? Anyone? Any questions? And also, if you observe here, the moment I've started the JBoss application server, it created two other folders called as in data and the log. The log folder, okay, as the name itself indicates, it contains the logging related information. Okay, this is one that will be getting created whenever you are trying to start the JBoss application server in a standalone mode. Similarly is the data folder. The data folder contains the data or the information that are loaded by the JBoss application server. Clear everyone?
So is it temporary data?
Yes, temporary data.
Okay. So this data folder is temporary. Once I shut down, its contents will be gone?
No. Okay, it's like your, you remember our WebSphere application server also has WS temp folder
Yeah, it's a
and
temporary store, permanent store.
those kind of thing. The data
Okay.
is a permanent store. Okay,
Okay.
temp is a WS temp kind of a thing. Okay,
Okay.
you can delete the contents inside the temp folder, even though application is running, no problem. But data is not like that. Okay, it contains the information.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone? Any questions still here? Hello.
So this server log is just like the system out log file in
Yes. In JBoss, in WebSphere application, so you will have system out, system ERR, native STD out. You'll have the service.log access.log file like that. But in WebSphere, JBoss application says, boss, I can't give so many log files. I'll give you only one log file, which has all that information. Am I clear?
Yeah. So Siva, you find it is better or that is better?
As of now, since I'm training the JBoss application, I'll see this one as a better. Okay.
So it means we have to, track the log by ourselves, or there are sections, or what we, while troubleshooting. So how?
we have to write a script like if your J was hanging, you have to write a script for every error messages to get the message out of this log file.
No. Actually, yeah, you can customize that loading. Or otherwise, what you can do is that, okay, the error log file, okay, in the system dot or server dot log file, if you see an error file, what will happen is that, okay, this error file, the error or exception, whatever you're trying to get, since it is present in the server dot log file, you open and search for the error messages info. You open the server dot log file and search for the info. Debug, if you are unable to debug, so whatever the things that you are trying to do with the system out, system ERR, all of them will be there even in the server dot log file. One file for all the information.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone? Any questions? Can you continue?
One more question. So this application server, let's say if we are running cluster, so which one is active, which one is passive, all the information also goes here.
Hello.